in the Meadowlands, the big homie in 702. What it do? Mount Rushmore. I believe when we left off, I was talking about how I started to really become a known individual on Indian Springs Yard. People like, Danny McCoy, they slowly, Tim McCoy, Goose, all them, EC, Rob, even Gangster Rob, all them dudes started to go leave, and I became, you know, one of the main figures on that yard, and I began to really get out there, and I was naive, and you know what, Gangster Rob tried to warn me about my behavior. He saw that I was, even though he would not let nothing happen to me. A lot of stuff I did, he didn't condone. He didn't like it, and he always used to tell me, "All right, one day you gonna want to get out of prison, and all this you doing is gonna come back and hunt you." He said, "One day you gonna want to get out." Now, mind you, I didn't already been to the parole board and already got a 3-year dump, so I'm just now knowing what a 3-year dump is. So I'm like, I'm not really, I'm not really too much caring. You know, I'm not. And on the streets, people is dying off. You know what I mean? Snoop, Vern Loke, and a bunch of people just started to pass away. And from everywhere. And it was just like it was a state of just bad. And I didn't know that it was like tension, unlike Vegas ever seen, simmering on a low. And what ended up happening is I'm gonna have to go over a lot. So I know there's a lot of people like he missed this, he missed that. You can't cover everything in one segment. I'm gonna go back over it for those that want me to talk, and then I shouldn't be the only one stepping to. I keep saying that, man. I'm not the only one that need to be chronicalizing this. It's a bunch of reputables out there that know this. I'm laying out the format. Y'all can fill it in. But anyway, uh, what ended up happening is I began to, you know, press people, like gangster. I started pressing people. And, one of the dudes I pressed was Antonio Richardson, and he was hitting. And I was pressing him, and I was pressing Ace. You know what I mean? I was pressing dude, and Terry. I watched Dust Storm knock Terry out in front of Unit 5. So when Dust Storm knocked him out, oh, you already know, you already know. Break bread or get off the yard. You already know how this go. You already know. Y'all had the boy Wheel, the CO Wheel, Big Wheel, Big Goat Man. Remember him? Y'all had him. Y'all got him knocked. Everybody know the Will got caught, so you can speak on it. It was a big, tall CO named Will. He was real cool. He was bringing them dudes dope in a big gulp drink bottle. That's when it was wide open. So they was having dope on a daily basis. That's how much weed and stuff was on that yard. That's why I'm trying to tell y'all. It was like I wasn't locked up, but I was locked up. You know, my body was in there, but my mind was all over the place. You know, and so I started to be known as an extorter. I started to be known as a bully. I started to be known as a snake. I started to be known as a demon. And I guess my name caught Sergeant Heights' attention because it was just ringing too much, you know. And after we found out, see, it was a homosexual on that yard. I don't like talking about facts. I don't go there. I don't like. Ugh. But anyway, it was a homosexual in that yard, man. And this fag, baby, he told on all the people that was bringing in dope because Charles Webb was his boo boo, and he had got sent to Gene, another prison, and baby wanted to go. So he decided to turn in all the dope dealers on the yard, and he sent a kite out there to the visiting room officer. But it was a white boy out there named Seth, that stole a kite and brought it back to the yard. And we found out, you know, that where the kite came from through the writing. And we went in his room and took all his stuff. He was in there with Larry Cocaine. And we went in his room and we took all his stuff, poured water in his TV and just took everything. And B.I. was walking around with his rollers and his perm and his hairnet on, and we took everything out of his room, you know what I mean? But when I started doing stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, people like that, they be telling, and they, them people don't like that. So I caught my name was on their radar. So an incident happened on the yard, okay? It was a bunch of stealing going on. Now this around 98, 99, somewhere around there. There's a bunch of stealing going on. So in order to stop the yard from getting out of control, because the Mexicans was finna get into it with the blacks, because people was stealing their stuff. They was going in their rooms and stealing their stuff. People knew how to pop your door when you went to breakfast or lunch or dinner, and remain in the hallway like they on the telephone, wait till you leave, and then pop your door and go in your room and take your whole room. But they was taking them, robbing them Serenos, and them Serenos wasn't going for that. Right? So, and to stop it, all the head honchos met in the gym. The white boys, the Serenos, the Paisas, the Crips, the Bloods, the Cali boys, Kumi, the Muslims, everybody met in the gym. The head ones. And they came up with this agreement. If anybody do something that's disrespectful toward any race, religion, culture, they people will deal with it. Meaning, before we let it get out of hand, we will take care of it ourselves. If it's the white boys will take care of it. If the Mexicans will take care of it, etc. Well, as usual, as expected, and of course, it's always the blacks that break the goddamn covenant. I don't know what the little ABM boy, I forget his name, the little badass ABM boy, used to run around there with I'm gonna think of his name. I think his name was Pancake. Yeah, little Pancake. But anyway, this little bad mom, he, after this meeting, not that everybody agreed to this, he turned around, not even a week later, and go steal some Mexican shoes, and had the audacity to put blue laces in one, and I don't know what he found some burgundy ones at, and burgundy was another one, and was wearing them on the yard like he didn't steal them, he didn't care that he stole them, and wasn't nothing gonna happen that he did steal them. Well, the Mexicans, hey Holmes, what y'all gonna do? So the ABMs, the blacks are like, hey man, he got to get off the yard, cause he just disrespectful, man. He know we was supposed, so they want him off the yard. The ABM's like, no, he ain't going nowhere. We'll deal with him. So even the Northtown dudes like, man, he need to get off the yard, man. The ABM was like, no. So they took him in the room and they beat his body up. They punched him all in the ribs, chest, and that ain't no discipline. And them Serenos one's going for that. They don't know them forms of hitting in the body. When Serenos discipline you, you normally on flight for life, or you out of there. You in the meat wagon, toe tagged and bagged. That's their form of discipline. Them Serenos. When they discipline you, ER. Most definitely. They gonna be telling you to hold on. Hold on, sir. These dudes took that boy in there and hit his body. Beat his body up. Like the Serenos. So the Serenos say, no, let us discipline him. The ABM say, hell no. The Serenos say, well, that's the only way this gonna work, Holmes. That's the only way. And they were like, what you mean that's the only way this gonna work? Like, it's the only way it's gonna work, Holmes. They say, let us discipline him, Holmes, because he's not even scarred up, Holmes. ABM was like, man, y'all ain't disciplining our homies. And they was like, well, then it is what it is. ABM was like, well, it is what it is. Now the blacks is like, whoa, wait, hold on. What you out? Hold on. What you mean it is? Some people don't want to indulge in that foolishness. I did. And a few more people did. So when everybody say F it, people say F it. What's next? So, it was weird at this time because the Mexicans, they had 3 leaders. It was weird. They had Chewy, Fat Cat, and Crazy Joe. Crazy Joe represented Vegas. Chewy and Fat Cat represented some out of Cali and some other stuff. I don't know. But it was weird they had 3 leaders at then. So I think Crazy Joe was from 28th Street. OG. Crazy Joe was cool. One of the Mexicans that stayed true to his Vegas roots, and I salute him because he didn't let what was about to happen, which was California Serenos taking over, he didn't let that corrupt him at that moment. He was like one of the last lines of original Nevada Mexicans that was there at that time. Because after him, it's like the Serenos from California took over. But anyway, Crazy Joe was one of the Mexicans that was more for like, let's work this out. You know what I mean? And the Mexicans from California was like, fuck that. Just like the California Crips was like, F that. They got adulterated hatred for each other that goes back out there. So this finna go down regardless. So the Mexicans grouped up in front of Unit 3, and everybody remember this. When they grouped up in front of Unit 3, the blacks grouped up in front of Unit 4, and everybody was just sitting there just looking at each other, and the boy, what's the big Muslim brother name? Kadar. The big Muslim brother used to wear the red, black, and green kufi. Kadar with the real deep voice. He decided to take it to him. Him, Twin from West Coast Bloods, and a few more. They started walking toward the Mexicans. And when the Mexicans seen them blacks coming toward them, the ones, like they got little warrior-looking Mexicans. Because some of their leaders got long hair. They had be in ponytails. But the ones that be doing the fighting be bald-headed. You know? So when the blacks started going toward them, the Mexicans stood up. And next thing you know, it was like they just started walking, and people started walking, and next thing you know, the Mexicans had rocks and then blacks had rocks, and it just collided, and they started scrapping. And you know, for the first time, the blacks, the Crips, the Bloods, the Cali boys, everything that was melanated fought the Mexicans, and they beat the Mexicans kind of bad, man. They did, because the white boys didn't help them. And that's been a problem out here in Nevada for a long time. The white boys, you know, they'll tell the Mexicans, hey, we got y'all back. And then when some jump, they don't help them. And then the Mexicans will do the same thing to the white boys. Hey, when something happen, we got you. And when they don't jump, the Mexicans don't help them. You know, and the whites didn't help the Mexicans. So they really got did bad. And it was so bad that they locked us down and turned the water off for listen, this is inhumane, and if you think I'm lying, there was people on that yard, you can ask them. They turned the water off for 2 weeks. They turned the water off. For real. When we walked to get our trays, they was wrapped up in cellophane. Our trays, and they didn't care if it was cold. You got what you got, and you had either a cup or a water bottle, and you walked by igloo on your way to chow, and in that igloo was the water that you was gonna have for that time until you got 3 things of water a day, and that was with your meals. It wasn't nothing in between. When we had that ride with the Mexicans, Indian Springs was forever changed. It was forever changed. And then bad news hit us while we on lockdown. Skeet get killed Skeet from K9 get killed. Scotty. Now the West Side Alliance is terminated. because they looking at the Pyrus and they got Earn P on the run for it. Ain't no need to get into that. But the West Side Alliance is broken. So I'm in the lockdown, feeling messed up because now the gates are closed forever. See, they left them gates open when they put them up, but now they shut them, and they say they were never opening up, and that yard was never finna open back up. What you mean by that? That was incomprehensible. What do you mean? Now, what's the terminology of not opening back up exactly? Because we didn't understand that. They spoiled us. We did what we wanted to do. Dude, we had Kwanzaa, and that was the biggest. Listen, during Kwanzaa, we probably bought in so much dope during Kwanzaa, it wasn't even funny. People was ODing up over there, man. For real, ODing. Like it wasn't nothing. You know, gangster got strung out on heroin. For real, messing with the Pisces. He robbed the Pisces for 6 grams of heroin. And did he sell it? He probably sold a gram of that. He gave me one. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't like the smell of it. You know, I don't like that vinegary smell. But before I get back to, after the fight with the Mexicans, matter of fact, I'm going to finish that and then I'll go to that. Okay, now when we had the fight with the Mexicans and they locked us down, this when those 2 COs I told you about, Gribbs and Muhammad, oh man, this was open season. They start running in blacks' rooms, 2-3 of them every night, battering blacks. They ran in Big E-Dub room from West Coast Bloods. They called E-Dub and my OG homie 32. I didn't know E-Dub got down like that, but they called E-Dub at 32 in that shooting up dope. And they ran in the room on E-Dub, and E-Dub knocked out. He was dropping them, but they piled up on him. And they did E-Dub bad. When they bought E-Dub out, E-Dub didn't have nothing from the waist down on. He was naked. He only had on a ripped shirt and he was bloody. They did E-Dub bad. Salim, the Muslim brother, they literally tried to pull his eye out his head. They took him out the hole and they took him in the back where we go out for recreation. And they jumped him. And one of the officers tried to gouge his eye out his head. Then they took all his property and sent it up north, and then they sent him to Gene Hole to hide him. They'll send your property one way and send you the other way. And your family won't even know where you is. That's what they call hiding you. So you can heal from your wounds. And by the time you get your property, you have so many stickers from the institutions that it's been to that sent it away from there. It's a shame. But on this one particular day, I'm in the room now. They tried to catch me with them knives. They've been hearing about them knives, these knives that I had. And the last person I pulled them on was Antonio Richardson. And I think he told on me. And they tried to catch me with him. But I was never stupid enough to keep my knife in my room. I always kept it in short dog room. And you know, and back then they had these beds with springs in them. And if you lift the bed up, it was holes in them. And I used to stick my knife in there, and I just take a gauze of toilet paper and stick it up in there so it won't make no noise when I set it down. And whenever I want them, I just, you know, take his bed and let it drop real hard and get the gauze up out of there and get my knife. But they came in the room on me one day. They called me slipping. I was in the bed. I wasn't even tripping. They ran in the room and snatched me up, right? I wasn't no big old dude at this time. I was about 160-something pounds. I was real ripped. And I wore an eye patch. When they come in the room, they snatched me up. When they snatched me up, they trying to put me in all these weird-ass chokeholds. I guess they learned in the academy. I wasn't going for that. I know how to fight too, sort of. And I was fighting back. And we was in that room fighting hard in the motherfucker. And my celly, he's sitting in the bed talking about, why don't y'all stop? Just stop. Why don't you help me? Mother, you an inmate. Why would you scream, why don't you stop? See, some people don't need to come to prison, man, for real, dude. But anyway, I'm fighting the mother police. I'm doing all right. I gave him about 12 seconds of resistance. Before before I got to going. Okay, okay, you hurting me. I said all that. I keep it real. Some people don't. And the way I said it was like a lame, like one of them white boys that never got in trouble before. And it was their first taste of being manhandled by law. That's how I was saying it. You're hurting me, sir. The big, infamous, ferocious sheep. Boy, they had me out there saying all kind of things. And then look, the fact that I was fighting, I touched every wall and door and people in their window looking as I'm getting slammed in front of them, in their face. They looking as I'm getting slammed, and they blew my face, and we looking at each other. I touched every doorknob. They had me. They whooped my mama ass. I don't even lie. And then when I didn't even, my feet didn't touch the floor. Once they picked me up, everything that I opened it up with my face. When I got to the hole, my eye patch was flat. It was flat. I'm not exaggerating. It was flat. For real. They had me so raggedy. For real. I was numb. I wanted my mama. All that. I ain't never gone visit since I've been in prison. But I was dying for one that day. To tell my mama what they did to me. Yeah, I said it. I don't give a damn. Because they did me bad. When you remember an ass whooping for that long, you got did bad. They did me. They twisted me up, man, listen, like an etchy sketch. They had me looking like an etchy sketch drawing. Broke up. Bad. Anyway, they get me to the hole. I'm cooperating like a man. Because listen, I'm in pain, man. I didn't open everything up with my face. You know what I mean? I can't feel my fingers. You know what I mean? I didn't call elbows. You know what I mean? They ain't hit me in my... You ever got hit in the liver? I ain't never got hit in the liver. I got hit in the liver multiple times. So I'm feeling stuff, and it ain't the Holy Ghost. So I'm in the room. They got me. I'm cooperating. They let me out the handcuffs. They told me don't move. You would have thought I was dead. I was so still. They told me to put my hand on my head and take the cuffs off. I couldn't feel my head on my hand. So I didn't even know where it was when I just put it up there. And they was getting in my ear saying it. And they was saying it like this here. When I take this handcuff off you, put your hand on your head. If you move, I'm gonna take it as a threat. Do you understand me? That's how they was talking to me. I said, very sincerely, when they got them handcuffs off me, and they told me I better stay like that until they left out the room. And then go say close 7. I remember this like it was yesterday. And when they did that to me, and they messed me up, I ain't never in my life got done like that by nobody. Not like that. The closest I came was that fight I had at the Comedy Club. But the dude that how they just did me, they left me, the unit that they took me out of, that's where they left my humanity, my compassion, and my empathy. They left it in the room they took me out of, because what they brought to the hole was a monster. And when I got through spitting all that blood in that window, I looked Muhammad in his face. I said, y'all got 3 days to let me out of here. Because I got the shower. In 3 days, you got to let me out the shower. And I looked him in his face, and I spit a wad of blood on the window. I said, when you let me out of here, I'm going to kill you. I put that on my mama. I'm going to kill you, nigga. I said it just like that. And he laughed. He laughed, and he was putting his face like this, and like I wasn't even standing there. I didn't budge because I was in so much pain. I couldn't move. But I was just a shell of myself. I didn't care no more. I was going to kill him. And every time he bought my tray, I kicked it. I didn't eat for 2 days till they realized we might have a problem. This dude ain't ate. Do we need to send someone to his room? So they sent an officer to come and just stare at me. So after I got tired of him staring at me, I calmly got up off my bed and I walked to the door. I looked at him. I smiled. I said, "How you doing today, sir?" He said, "I'm all right, man. I'm trying to see how you doing." I smiled at him and I punched the door so hard. See, I punched a lot of stuff. And I told him, 24 hours. And I went and sat back on my bunk. See, he didn't know. I had an OG homeboy back there named Junebug. The night they did me like that, he was a porter, and when he came out, I told him what happened. And when he got me a knife, he slid me a knife. So I was ready to do what I needed to do. They didn't know. I was willing to take that risk. I'm finna kill your motherfucking ass for what you just did to me. So after I punched that door, I guess I hit that door a little bit too hard for him. He went and got the psych doctor, Miss Hoover. So this butch-looking broad with a mohawk-looking haircut come back there asking me all these weird questions. I ain't want to answer no questions. She said, "What's wrong with your hand?" I said, "Nothing." And she said, "Mr. Stewart, your hand is swollen." I said, "Go on about your business." And I went and said that. She left. About 15 minutes later, about 30 COs came to my door and told me we can do this 2 ways. I can cooperate, or we can do it the other way. Now, mind, I just punched this goddamn door. I'm still swollen for what they did to me. It's just been 2 days. I'm not in a fighting mood. Especially now, it's just too many of them right now. So I asked myself a question. You want to go cooperate, or is it do or die? And I answered myself very quickly. I said cooperate. So I did everything they told me. I went to the infirmary. She talked to me. I told her, I'm going to kill him. And she told me why, and I told her what they did to me. And she seen the markings. She seen I wasn't lying. And I wasn't trying to hear nothing. She said, I told her, I'm going to go kill that mom. And she said, and I didn't know his name was Mark. She said, what did he do in particular? I said, he the one that came out to the door and was making fun of me. So look what she do. She get the warden involved. They decide that I'm no longer qualified to be on that yard at that very moment. I left from her office and got on a bus without my property. And guess where I got sent? Because I said I was going to kill SEO. They sent me to the ECU unit, which is Unit 7 in Jean, Nevada, which is the psych ward. And when I got over there, I'm thinking I'm going to a whole nother yard. But when I stepped in that unit, I knew goddamn well that wasn't no normal unit. Because it was people, it wasn't normal. So I'm like, what's this? And they were like, this is the ECU. I say, what's that? They say, you've been brought here for observations. I say, what you mean observation? They was like, they wanted you to be observed by a psych. When they said psych, I spazzed out. Next thing you know, I'm in another tussle. I'm fighting transportation, everybody. Now, y'all ain't finna put me up in there. I done been to the crazy house as a kid. I know what come along with there. Y'all know y'all not. So I started fighting for my life, man. Man. Them people 4-pointed me, man. And they put some hound dog in there. Yeah. It's all in my record. Had me like, duh, for 3 days. Duh. Coming in there checking my blood pressure. And all that old stuff. Cold. 4-pointed. Stretched out with a pamper on. That they didn't really clean. Because they didn't care. They just made sure my heart was still beating. Never mind what that stuff they just didn't put in me did. Yeah. They ain't got the nerve to ask me who the hell the president is. Arsenio Hall. Who you think he is? They done just gave me some goddamn hound dog and go ask me who the president is. They don't care about the side effects or nothing. So when they did decide to take me off whatever that was for 3 days, I was at bobblehead status. Bobblehead status on everything. Bobblehead. And then look, I ran into my uncle in there. I ain't seen my uncle since I was a baby. My daddy brother, James Earl, was up in there. And if it don't be for him, I still be duh. Because even though he, I guess, had mental issues his whole life, he was coherent enough to not let them do me like that. And he wasn't playing. So they took me off Haldol and put me on lithium and found out I was allergic to me. Now they got me walking around looking like a croco bar. For real. They didn't put me, they trying different drugs on me. Haldol, Whisperedol, Seroquel, Cinequan, Elavil, Thorazine, liquid Thorazine. They ain't got me strung out on liquid Thorazine. They got me addicted to it. Because when they didn't give it to me, I bust every window out up in there. I tripped out over some Thorazine. Like a crackhead. They really tried to lobotomize my ass. For real. But, excuse me, they try to knock me down. And if I ever, see, this how dirty they is. I tried to get my medical files. I can prove they did it. They would not send them. And if you stay out of prison for 5 years, they destroy them. They destroyed my medical files. See? But what y'all don't know is that Social Security got them. See, you can only cover up your crime. But karma, Social Security got it. Yeah, they know what y'all did to me. You know why they know what y'all did to me? That's why they classify me what they classified me as. Because of what y'all did to me. And then when y'all felt y'all had me dumbed down enough, you put me on a new yard I knew nothing of. And when I come back, now I done been a lab rat for psychotropic drugs. Now I'm in my room, and I'm not lying, and if you laugh, I don't care. I'm in my room asking my damn shadow why it keep following me. And I'm serious. That's what them drugs did to me. I'm I'm checking my shadow. Asking me, why the fuck you keep following me? That's how gone I am. Psychotropic drugs. And they put me on the yard. And people still think I'm the infamous sheep. Then bam, just like that. Tragedy strike again. And when I come back, all hell break loose in Las Vegas. Junebug, James Lee, get knocked down by the rolling 60s. That began the beginning of the bloodiest war, gang war, in Vegas history. I myself began on a journey of being detached from reality, trying to strong arm yards and take them over. Because although they put me on them psychotropic drugs, one thing that they couldn't take away from me is that I had a fetish for reading, and I never lost it. And that was the antidote to the poison that they tried to corrupt my perception of reality with. Because I was able to take my mind away from the institutions and put them over there in Germany, in Munich. I was able to go places mentally, and that was the cure. But it also became my Achilles heel, because although I've survived what they tried to do to me, I let my ambitions put me right back in a sunken place. When I come back, the war with the 60s. Vegas from the ground up.